Okay, let's go, Avery. What do you see, man?
You know, I see the front of an Alfa sticking out here. It's got to be good. I like Alfa Romeos. Oh, look, a Fiat 500, an old jewel. It's very interesting. We're right in the middle of Miami, and there's a body shop. I come by, I see the front of an Alfa sticking out. I look in here, and I see all kinds of interesting things. Looks like they got a Porsche Sportster back there. They got a blue Fiat 500, an old jewel. They got a good-looking forklift. Hey, how you doing, man? I don't speak Spanish very good. No, no Spanish. Canadian. I speak Canadian. Barely good Canadian.
He's from Canada.
What year is this 500? What year?
¿Qué año? ¿Qué año? ¿Cómo?
No sé qué año. Él sabe qué año.
You don't care.
See, look, there's a Porsche here.
Canadá. Gente de Canadá, mi hermano.
A lot of Porsches.
How's it going, man? They do cool shit.
Tell you what. It's a Bronco back there.
Yeah, that's the owner.
What's that?
That guy's the owner.
Okay.
That's the boss, yeah?
Tell you what, there's a lot of interesting.
What's that?
It's interesting. Tell you what, it's amazing what you see walking down the street just out of the blue. Who knew? I like it. My favorite part of the shop, there's no fan like a big fan. Well, that's an interesting conversion.
What is it?
It's got a 4-cylinder something or other in it. I don't know what it is, but it's whoever did the job did a damn good job of doing it. It's turbocharged, whatever it is. Aftercooler, intercooler, whatever. Here's something you don't see very often. These things are mid-engine, the motor's right in the middle of them. Tell you what. Huh.
Jesus.
Huh. I tell you what. I don't know whether I'm supposed to be back here or not, but I tell you what. Look at this. Look at this. Here's another Porsche over here. Look at this.
There's some nice stuff, eh?
I tell you what. Hey. I tell you. Let's get out of here before we get into trouble.
Think so?
Oh yeah. Here's a 2002.
What's that?
I think that's a 2002 BMW. Hey, is this it? Right here. Nothing. We just my Now the next thing, you have a lot in common with my friend Michael.
Oh, yeah.
I see that you have a very expensive workbench here.
Yes. Well, and I'll tell you why I do this stuff like this. Like, a lot of people, they want to talk to me all the time. so that if they don't see this, they won't have something to talk about. You know, like even with the little Porsche I have outside, I normally have that covered in stuff. And people say, why do you do that to that car? It's like when people come into my shop, because I'm in the art district, people come in and they want to hear the stories.
Yes.
And if I start talking all day long, then I get no work done. So I
can-
keep them all covered up. This is a 390 car. This is a fastback 68 390 car that I have sitting here for one day to restore. This is one of mine. So as you can see, it's not very well treated right now, but she's under here on the roof, so she's all right.
It's fine. It's you have a lot of treasures here. It's kind of
Yeah.
interesting. It's very the array of different vehicles you have is
Yeah.
very interesting. Now I really like this. What is this? A Fiat? What is this?
So this is a very, very rare car.
What is this?
This is a Bianchina, right? It's called a Bianchina. It's something that Fiat did with a bicycle manufacturer called Auto Bianchi. And this car in particular is one of 20. One of 20 because it's a convertible. So it's called a transformable. So it's a one of 20 car, probably valued at about 100 grand as you see it. So we're just trying to
Well,
get
that
all
would
the things for it.
That's not too bad because you'll only be into it for about 120 before you're finished.
Well, I think that's the way things happen sometimes, but she's definitely rare, so
That's
we're trying
very
to bring her
nice.
back, yeah.
Very nice you're bringing life, and I see you got another
It's
fairly.
very nice weather.
It's all Ford, it's all original, but it's a piece that we put together here because what we started with was too rusty to start with.
These things, I think these things started rusting the day that they come out of
And
the
they come
factory.
out of the factory,
I
yeah.
tell you, like the value of these used to be right to the roof, and I see they're starting to soften up a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
But again, like, you always lived here in Miami, or?
Always been, well, I started in New York. So in New York, my shop was dedicated only to Porsche work. And when I got here, the purists that didn't know who I was didn't want to give me any business. So like I said, okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to do everything. So as you can see in my shop, I kind of dabble in a lot of different things.
It's very interesting. Now, who paints this stuff?
Well, this one in particular, I painted. I did all the paint work here until 1 year ago that I hired one of the gentlemen that come here because it's almost time to take a back seat and do more engineering than
Yes.
getting my hands dirty, you know, so.
I noticed the paint. You have these paint jobs look like they haven't been buffed or they haven't been
Not
painted or
buffed,
cut.
not
They're
yet.
very good paint jobs you
Yeah,
have here.
yeah.
Like the first thing I noticed, I went, wow. You know, it's amazing the paint you get out of having like an older style booth
Yeah.
and not a downdraft or whatever.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I go, holy cow, this paint is good on here. This is probably off an Explorer or something? Or?
No, not an Explorer, something a little bit newer. I don't want to give that
That's
up
not
just
a
yet.
problem. That's not a problem.
Highly modified, we had to shorten it.
Well, I see
We
you
had-
shortened it
yeah.
underneath there.
Yeah.
You cut it. You can barely tell that it's shortened. You only, if you change one little thing, the average person would never see it was shortened. I looked through one of the holes in the body,
Yeah.
and I see a piece going through there. You
Yeah.
weld it the same way as the
Yeah.
original frame. It's an
Absolutely.
excellent job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, the other question I have, as we were snooping through your stuff, and we were supposed to be snooping through your stuff, you have a Porsche on a rack over there.
Yeah, that's
Like,
an old one.
what is the history of that Porsche?
Yeah, this is one of the first ones that I acquired. And it was in a terrible accident, hit on the side, and I had to start acquiring all the parts for it. So if you see, I got the roof up there, and there's other parts that are just laying around. But then after that, I decided that on that particular car, I'm gonna do a ground up Resto-mod completely. So we're waiting for the right donor to build that car. That's why she's sitting up there in the rafters.
It must be a fairly rare car, very uncommon.
Not so uncommon. It's a 1964 C body. It's not that uncommon, but you know nowadays they do a lot of outlaws, like
Okay.
what Rod Emery does. But,
Okay.
So I'm gonna do something very similar to one that he did on a 964 chassis. So I'm gonna do something similar, but I think I'm gonna take it back to the first gen frame
Nice.
under there, so we could do all the modifications and stuff to it.
Now the next thing, you have a lot in common with my friend Michael.
Oh yeah.
I see that you have a very expensive workbench here.
Yes. Well, and I'll tell you why I do this stuff like this. Like, a lot of people, they want to talk to me all the time, so that if they don't see this, they won't have something to talk about. You know, like even with the little Porsche I have outside, I normally have that covered in stuff, and people say, why do you do that to that car? It's like, when people come into my shop, because I'm in the art district, people come in and they want to hear the stories.
Yes.
And if I start talking all day long, then I get no work done. So I
can-
keep them all covered up. This is a 390 car. This is a Fastback 68 390 car that I have sitting here for one day to restore. This is one of mine. So as you can see, it's not very well treated right now, but she's under here on the roof, so she's all right.
It's fine. You have a lot of treasures here. It's kind of
Yeah.
interesting. It's very, the array of different vehicles you have is
Yeah.
very interesting. Now, I really like this. What is this, a Fiat? What is this?
So this is a very, very rare car.
What is this?
This is a Bianchina, right? It's called a Bianchina. It's something that Fiat did with a bicycle manufacturer called Auto Bianchi. And this car in particular is one of 20. One of 20 because it's a convertible. So it's called a transformable. So it's a one of 20 car, probably valued at about 100 grand as you see it. So we're just trying to get all the things for it.
That's not too bad because you'll only be into it for about 120 before you're finished.
Well, I think that's the way things happen sometimes, but she's definitely rare, so
You know what? It's very nice you bring this stuff back to life.
yeah.
How do you, I guess it's just, you've been here long enough, this stuff kind of just gravitates and you find it? Or where did you find this at?
Well, this car was actually brought to me by an Italian gentleman that brings in cars from Italy, and he found me through the grapevine, and he wanted me to get this done for him. So we're just like trying to put all the pieces together in order to finish this car.
That's very interesting. And I see you got an old, you're into Novas.
Yeah, I love old Novas.
I see that.
Yeah, I used to have a SS396 car that we used to race behind Shea Stadium in New York. And I've always had that love for them. But that car in particular is pretty special. So that car is a body swap. So that car, we took a 2015 Cadillac ATS. We took the body off of it and we mounted this body on it. And as I have a neighbor next door who has a very well-known restaurant called Q. And the reason why this one's not finished is because right as we're in the middle of this build, he says to me, "Oh, we need something special for a DJ booth for a New Year's party." So we took the nose off of this car and we built a DJ booth in his restaurant with the nose of this vehicle with the lights working and the whole night
nice.
for our New Year's party. And then we kind of like sidelined it for a little bit because we got really busy.
I find it very interesting. You got an old Nova over here, and you got a Lamborghini over your hiding.
Yeah, Lamborghini, that one's mine. So you know what they say, you know, when they're yours, they kind of take a back seat to everything else.
You know what's always nice about it? You can walk by it, you look at it, and you think about it, and it makes you happy.
Yeah, that you have it.
Yes. It is very interesting how we all get that little bit of hoarder in us.
Yes. My wife says that all the time. She says, "Why don't you start cleaning up in here?" I said, "Well, there's some real rare stuff in here, so some stuff I can get rid of, some stuff I can't."
This 2002.
That's also another very special project. So I started building this for my son. We put a new 3 Series floor pan, and we shortened 9 inches the rear end out of a 328i. We mounted a new 240 horsepower 4-cylinder in there with the drivetrain. So now it's just a matter of finish the welding and getting the bodywork done to it.
I tell you, not enough time in the day, huh?
Not enough time in the day, and I'm kind of a very special guy when it comes to my guys, because my guys have to be like part of a family here.
That's very interesting. I noticed this car here's got suicide doors on it.
Yeah, this car has suicide doors, but it also came here very rusty. I mean, this thing was in bad
Well,
shape.
I tell you what, I took a look at that Porsche there. I've never seen a vehicle more rustier than that. It looks like it was sitting in a slough for about 40 years.
Yeah, it was in Vermont, and it came in pretty bad shape. But like you know, with the old Porsches now, none of them are junk anymore. So now you have to build them some way somehow.
What is that car worth? 100,000, 200?
About 100 grand.
It must be a passionate thing. By the time you get it done, you'll be right there on the edge.
Yeah, so I told my wife those are like bank accounts. You know, if I die one day, you could sell them off and you'll be all right.
You know what? As my saying goes, it's like money in the bank. If you don't have anything, you got nothing to sell.
That's it.
And it's real simple. Everybody comes in here and go, well, what do you have that piece of junk for? What do you have that piece of junk for?
All the
and you
time.
just look at them and you just smile and go, you know what? Good for you. You do not know what I have. I know what I have. you may not know what I have.
That's it.
You know, I look at this and go, wow, like you got some good pieces here. Very interested. This your Lamborghini over here. What year is that?
That's a 17. It's a 17 Huracan Spider.
Okay.
So that came to me destroyed. So we had to do a front clip on this, which we already did. They had some engineers come from Lamborghini to look at it because they said, the original owner of this vehicle, they said, why would you bring this car to this shop and not bring it to one of the Lamborghini shops? So he said, well, I know these guys and they've done a lot of work for me and I'm very confident in what they can do. So they brought the guys in. Then they brought how do you call this guy? Metallurgy engineer.
Yes.
With some kind of investigation team. And they started asking me questions and they said, well, is it all right if we start checking this car out? Because eventually it's going to go back on the road. I said, yeah, go right ahead. So they started taking all the measurements of the car and checking all the welds and stuff like that. And he said, I'm going to write my report and I'll let you know. So as he was leaving, he said, listen, you have to be proud of yourself because in the way that your shop is set up, I would never have thought that this car was going to come out the way that it came out. He says, and I'm going to recommend to Lamborghini for them to allow you to finish this car.
Well, that's a pretty good honor.
Yeah.
There's some very interesting things that I've been learning about car restoration that, you know, working on this old GM or old American stuff, North American vehicles and stuff it's not the same as European stuff.
Nope, not at all.
You know, the restoration place that we went to in Chatham, Ontario, R&M, they got somebody comes in, they look at it, they document it, and they say, okay, you can change this piece here, and that is it. No new parts to be made.
Yeah.
It stays like this. You can replace that part, that piece, and part of the bottom lower piece of that fender, and that is it. Leave it alone.
Yeah, so we did back 7 or 8 years ago, we did a Ferrari Vignale, a 330 Vignale. So the gentleman was having dinner next door, and he comes in and he sees me working on an old Corvette that I was doing. And he said, listen, you know, do you know what this car is? So he shows me a picture. I said, yeah, that's a Ferrari. He goes, are you sure? He said, yeah. He said, you're 100% sure that's a Ferrari? I said, yeah. He says, a lot of shops that I've gone to, they tell me it's a Jaguar, or they tell me it's an MG. And I said, no, I can clearly tell because of the lines that it's a Ferrari. And he says, you got the job. I said, I got the job. He said, yeah, I'll see you on Monday. Monday morning, I roll up. There was a flatbed waiting outside with a 1957 330 Vignale ready to get restored. He said, the only thing that I ask is that you do this in a place where nobody can see the car. The car, when we finished the car, it took first place in the Concours d'Elegance in West Palm Beach.
Interesting.
$20 million car. 3 cars left in the world. So, I doubt.
And you're a Bronco guy.
I'm a Bronco guy. So we do a little bit of everything, and you know, like we've made pieces that we've had to make, and like on that Bronco, we've had to prototype quite a bit of stuff because I wanted to incorporate a lot of the new world stuff
I tell you
in
what,
the old car.
I don't know a whole lot about it. I'm a Boy Scout in it, but I have done a few conversions. I look at that Bronco that you've done there, and it looks like it come right out of the factory.
Yeah, thank
you.
God
Look underneath. You look underneath, and the way that you've cut and shortened it, and everything else you've done on it,
yeah.
It looks like it's right out of the factory.
Yeah, we've done that. We're hoping that once we get it done, that maybe we can invite Ford and have them license it because it's something so special. Well, to us at least. And if they don't, well then. We'll keep building them anyway.
It looks like you got the rest of the frame sitting right there.
There
for
it
it,
is. Yeah.
Like that frame
it.
is actually worth quite a bit.
Yeah, that frame
Yeah.
is sitting right there when
Yeah.
we started with it. That's what we use for all the measurements and everything for the new one.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
I don't know if you saw the old Chevelle we got there too.
I seen that old
Yeah.
Chevelle back there. Yes.
Yeah, we got a little bit of everything.
It's now. What's with the Camaro over there?
That's a Z01 that I bought for myself. It's 14 Z01. That's the one that comes with the 770 horsepower.
Supercharged?
Yeah, supercharged motor. So I bought that for myself, and like all my other little projects, I ended up having to sideline it for a little while. But that's the next one coming out.
Would you rather drive that or the Lamborghini?
It's probably gonna cost me less to finish that one than the Lamborghini, so we'll finish that one first.
Where do you buy parts for that Lamborghini? You gotta go right to Lamborghini?
I know I get them I source them out of a place in the UK called Scuderia,
Okay.
and they sell all the exotic stuff. I buy stuff from them.
Now,
all
is
the
that
time.
aftermarket made or is that original
No,
stuff?
original.
They
Just-
wreck them, obviously?
Yeah, they wreck them.
Interesting.
And I buy stuff from them there.
Just out of curiosity, what is a quarter panel worth for this car?
For that car, is worth about 7,000 or 8,000. But the most expensive one I've ever bought was a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. So we were the first in the state of Florida to fix a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, and it was hit in the back. The quarter panel for that car was $18,000.
Do they come painted?
They don't come nothing. That thing was just a bare skin, and the wheel was $8,000. So it was a big ticket.
Well, I tell you what, my friend. When I walked by here, I looked at this and I said, you know what? There is something neat about this place. I don't know what it is, but I was 100% drawn to you and your building. I said, there's something very interesting in here. Walking by, I look under the door, I heard the music coming out, and I said, there's something neat about this place. And I tell you what, again, I'm very thankful that you let us into your world to take a look around a little bit.
No
Yes, some
problem.
neat stuff in here. Mike, my cohort, he bought a 911 Targa. Targa 911, yeah, 1971.
It was like the one under all that junk over there.
Yeah. Now, the engines on these cars and Porsches, do the cases shrink on them and become a problem?
Yeah, on the 2.7s. The 2.7s had issues where they warped.
From sitting?
Yeah, from actual use and the heat.
Okay.
So whenever we do one of those, we send the cases out to get realigned, because if you don't, the things will start locking up.
Because I told him that, and he told me I was full of beans. I said, Mike, I was talking to a Porsche guy, and he said the cases on that car that you have, he says, them cases after that motor has to be totally gone through. And I just look at him and smile, because he thinks he's going to do the body work on it and have it all done for like a minimal amount. And I said, by the time you're into that car finished, you'll be into it for 100,000.
Just the machine work on that block alone is going to cost them about $4,000.
That's just the machine work,
Just
the line board.
Just the machine board. Yep. Because they have to shave the two halves before they align board, and then they have to refit everything that goes on there.
Now, when you shave that down, what about the deck height for your piston tolerance and stuff? What happens there? You cut the pistons down, or what do you do? Or you just put a bigger gasket?
No, you don't have to worry about that tolerance there, but you do have to worry about the crankshaft tolerance. They don't have to. They have a shim that goes on there, but it's nothing major.
So he's looking at to do that motor and everything. He's looking at about 20 grand by the time he's finished, probably.
Easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that car worth finished?
That car worth finished right now is probably 150 grand.
So he'll be all right. So that's 200,000 Canadian finished. So he'll come out of it already. If he spends 100 grand on it, I think he paid 35 or 40,000 for it.
Yeah.
It was sitting Canadian.
Canadian.
So that's about 30,000 US. It was sitting in some guy's underlawn parking garage for like 40 years.
Yeah.
And he bought it off the guy. But I tell you what, in order to get his money out of it, he's going to learn all about it.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing. Somebody looks at a car like this and goes, what a problem. Why would you ever start with that?
Yeah.
They don't realize that you can take something that looks good, and by the time you're done, you're down to this already.
Yeah.
So I look at it like this, somebody's done half the work already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done some of the work. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. That Lamborghini over there, what is it worth? About 1.5, 2?
No, that's worth like 225. That Lambo, 225 US.
1,000 or million?
No, thousand. Oh, million, I wish.
Yeah. Because I looked at some other stuff. Like I say, it's hard. I don't know a whole lot about supercars. Really isn't my thing.
Yeah.
But I've been around a few of them, and they're fairly.
Yeah, they're fairly expensive.
Some of them are fairly high.
Yeah, this is more a run of the mill in that world. Spider, that one's nothing special.
I tell you what. There was two mint 250 Californians where I was at the other day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are nice. Now Ferrari's gone a different way now. Ferrari's gone out of the supercar world per se, and more into the everyday car world, which is the same thing that Porsche's doing. That's why the Porsche world has gone through the roof. because
Okay.
Porsche is not building a supercar anymore. Now Porsche wants to build for the everyday guy with a bit of money.
You know what I seen the other day that I was fairly interested? I seen an old Countach from about 77. And I looked at that car and I kind of went like this.
You're like, wait a minute.
They're kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like, do you know who Walter Wolf is?
No, I don't.
He bought, I do believe that he bailed out, did he bail out Lamborghini?
He bought Lamborghini and owned Williams, and he's the reason why the Countaches became like muscle cars.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In '82, he got arrested by Interpol for arms dealing, but he got off. He's half Canadian, half Austrian. He's like 82, and he lives on this big ranch, drives his diesel trucks down to our buddy's shop.
Yeah.
And,
cool.
So
Yeah.
we're supposed to do an
I'm gonna look him up. What's it? Walter Wolf.
Walter Wolf, yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna look him up.
I think
I'd
they
like
built-
to hear history of the old cars and stuff like that.
But anyways, yeah, like Walter Wolf lives up the street from us. It's fairly interesting. And I do believe that he bailed Lamborghini out at one time. And I think that they named the car after him, I think, that they built.
Oh yeah.
Very interesting. I tell you what, the car world is just, you meet so many good people and it's so very, very
Yeah.
interesting. Where I'm from, you don't get any of these supercars and stuff. You get old rusted iron.
Yeah.
If you come across a 240 Datsun, you're happy about it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? For me to come in here and see all this stuff like this, is like this, it's like this, you go, wow, look at this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
wow. Myself, I'm into minis.
Yeah.
I just did a 1977 Mini, but I'm going to do a conversion in it. I'm putting a Honda Civic motor in it.
Okay.
A
2000 motor.
B16 A2 that I'm putting into it, a double overhead cam.
Okay.
Yeah, with a conversion in it, and then I'll drive that. I like minis. So,
So I had a customer come in here. I did a mini for him, and he wanted to put the Hayabusa motor in it. I had never got around to doing that. We just restored it
Yeah.
for him, but that's a pretty common conversion nowadays, putting the Hayabusa motor in.
I don't know how that would work because there's no torque in that motor, so I don't know how it would pull that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a high rev and no torque engine. They supposedly work all right, but that B16, if you B16B Honda motor is a very, very good, robust engine.
Yeah.
So, but again,
So we did an EK9, and that's what the motor that he has in it, and it makes like 500 horsepower. This little thing,
Yeah.
turbocharged and
Yeah.
the whole nine. Yeah.
yeah.
In the replica world of the 550 Spider, the Beck is considered the best because they kind of made the copies off the original.
I see you got a little spaghetti bender here at Fiat 500.
Yeah.
Are they worth anything? I got one in the field back at home. I don't even know what year it is.
That's an Abarth, so that's one of the sportier versions of it. So we just restored this one. This one was all rusted out.
It must be- is
we're
it-
waiting for the trim to.
Is it fairly uncommon, or is it just somebody liked it?
No, somebody liked it. They purchased it, and it had a bunch of rust. So they saw that I had another one that we were restoring, and he asked if he could bring it, and I said, yeah, go ahead.
Out of curiosity, what was it worth to restore this?
About $7,000, but it wasn't that bad.
Well, that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Back at home to do that, the paint job, it'd be worth more than that at
Yeah.
home. Yeah. It's very interesting. I see you got a lot of high-end stuff here and a lot of stuff that's you got some very, very interesting
Canada.
stuff. It is too. I have a friend that builds aluminum bodies for these older Defenders.
Yeah.
They're very beautiful bodies, and that for Defender, Jeep, and no, he doesn't do Broncos.
Aqualoo?
The Aqualoo. If you're interested in some stuff, take a look up Aqualoo's website. These
Aqualoo.
Defenders are the older style.
Hey, you
Beautiful.
saw the one we're doing?
What's that?
You saw the one we're doing?
No.
Where is it? There it is.
Okay.
So we brought that one in from Scotland
He's got complete aluminum bodies that he puts them on Jeep chassis.
on Jeep chassis.
Yes, is what they fit on. They're all aluminum bodies made out of 1/8" aluminum.
Oh yeah.
I tell you what, you take a look at them, they're beautiful.
What's it called? Aqualoo.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
Give
I'm
you
gonna
an
take a look
excuse to
at it.
come up to Canada. visit.
There you
Exactly.
go. I'd love to come up.
He sells that product to them Defenders. He sells them all over the place. And the guys down here are selling them for like $300,000. And I tell you what, he's pissed off about it because they take and they cut his name out of the panels where they're stamped and they weld their name in there.
Ah, that's all right. He's getting paid. That's the way I look at it. That's crazy because I did something like that happened to me in New York when I had my shop in New York. So I built a super custom Porsche for this guy who was really well off. And then he calls me. He says, hey, Juan, I want you to come and work for me at my shop. And I said, what shop? He says, I'm opening a mobile electronics shop, and we want to we want you to come and run the shop. I said, well, you know, I'm not into mobile electronics. I'm a car guy, you know, the mobile electronics is a different world. So he put the car in the center of his shop and showcased the car, telling everybody that he built it. At first I got really pissed, but then I said, you know what? Back in that day, it was like 1988. I charged him 35 grand to get that car ready. So I said, you know what? I got paid. The heck with it.
There's one way of looking at it. No use getting all bent out of shape about it. You got to find a positive way about
That's
something.
it.
What year is this Porsche? That's a Speedster, I take it?
No, that's not a Speedster. That's a 356 C body, just like the other one.
Okay.
This car, I wish we could get in there. This car was an original factory race car.
Oh, seriously?
And the dashboard has a painting on it by some famous guy in Germany. I don't know who he is, but that's why I kind of like put it right here in a safe place so that, you know, we'll get around to restoring this. This thing is probably worth some real money. I don't know. We got so much stuff in there that it's probably going to be hard to look at that dashboard, but you'll see it has like a mural.
Whose motorcycle?
That is my motor. That's my motorcycle, and my wife said you're banned from riding motorcycles because you have 5 kids. so that motorcycle just sat there.
It's just a memory.
That's it. That's all it is now.
I had the same problem with my kid. He had a crotch rocket, and I said it's really simple. You have a couple choices to make here. Number one, if you keep driving that motorcycle, I can guarantee you that it's going to have a mechanical breakdown in probably about 2 days.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll make you a deal. As long as I'm alive, I will give you a truck, a Dodge Cummins, right there that I just bought for a resale. I said, I'll give you that truck if you never ever ride another motorcycle, a crotch rocket ever again. So
He took the deal,
he
right?
took
He was
the
smart.
deal. He took the deal.
And what did he do to that Cummins? How many times?
I tell you what, that Cummins, he's only wrecked it about 3 times the motor on it, but we rebuilt it and put it back on the road. But he's slowing down a little bit now. He used to come back and tell me, Dad, I was doing 150 mile an hour, and I pull a wheelie, and I wheelied for about 3 blocks at 150 mile an hour. I just went like this. My friend,
Maybe I should have kept him in the bike.
I tell you what, that's when he had his motorcycle. And I said, I can't wait till you have kids of your own, my friend.
Yes, there you go.
So anyways, you know what they say about kids? It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Absolutely. Or taking.
Well, that's what I mean, yes. That's pretty cool. And this is just...
That's mine, so.
I'm curious.
That's another
do
one.
you have any customer cars in here?
There's a bunch of customer cars anyway. This is just one that I acquired a long time ago.
Now, is that normal or is it wider? Is it a wide body or is it just normal?
It's a turbo body.
So it's a little wider?
Yeah, it's a little wider than normal. But this is one of the cars that we're actually starting to do right now. I took the motor out. And
Are you gonna
I sent it to the machine shop so that we could redo everything on it.
Now, here's a question. Have you ever seen them with LSs in them?
I have. I don't necessarily like them because I'm kind of a Porsche purist myself.
Okay.
And they don't run very cool at all. They run very hot.
Is that right, eh?
Yeah. So in order to get them to run cool, you have to do all kinds of modifications to the body so you can cool the oil, and it's just not worth it.
Very interesting. You know, you got a great shop.
Thank you.
All kinds of different diversified stuff. And here, guys, here's the picture with him with the Bronco. Hey?
Yeah.
Where was that picture at?
That was right there.
Oh, right there?
It was right there. It's actually, believe it or not, that's a photo shoot that I did for the restaurant next door, because since they consider me a really good neighbor, they wanted to put me up inside the restaurant.
Nice.
So they did a whole shoot in here, and they have a whole section of the restaurant where they have all the pictures of the shop, and they kind of give me homage to the neighborhood.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
How long have you been here for?
I've been here since 1988, my whole life. Got here when I was 21 years old.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm kind of a staple here.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting place.
Yeah.
Anyways, I appreciate your time.
No problem.
Very
Thank you.
nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you
You
too.
bet.
I got to come to your shop and visit.
You better, yes. I don't have nothing near as interesting, but I got some interesting stuff. Hey, you bring your rubber boots if you come.
There you go. Yeah.
We'll show you what some rust looks like.
That's it.
But I think you won the award on that Porsche for the rustiest vehicle I've ever seen.
There you go.
But that's cool. That's awesome you bring this stuff back to life. Like I say, it's a dying art. And again,
It's
my
definitely
friends,
a dying art.
you take an eye peeled in here and you go, the first thing that comes to your mind is what kind of a messy shop is this? And you start looking around, and if you're keen enough to pay attention to look at stuff, you start going, oh my goodness. You look at the paint job coming out of here and you go, how does this man get that good of a paint job out of that booth? So trust me, do not let the first appearance, do not let it fool you.
Also, make sure you get permission because you might get in trouble like us.
I tell you what, don't get too excited looking at stuff. Wait your turn.
That's it.